Joe, Creek, Em. Can anyone hear me?
Is it over?
Yep.
Wait, what is it?
Red is dead.
Wait, what? Like it killed him?
Yeah.
Did he seriously just hold the crucifix?
Looks like it. Rest in peace, Red. You will be remembered.
Dude, I got freezing temperatures.
Well, our job is done.
Yup. It's a demon.
Okay, we're done, let's go.
Wait, who's getting rid of the ghost now?
I don't know.
Not our problem.
They didn't take your body. They'll come back for it.
Are you sure?
Yeah. I hope they do, kid. I'll be waiting. They'll come back.
Oh.
Welcome back. I've got some jobs ready for you.
Hello there, I'm Anxious Cynic, and thank you for joining me again for another Minecraft animation compilation competition. So with our first submission here, this was actually pretty good. Lighting, the nighttime scene seems to be done pretty well. The only thing is you have this kind of a backlighting on the trees, which I like the idea of, but it seems a bit too bright and harsh. What I would have done with that is maybe tint it a little bit of a darker blue, so it just kind of gives a nice little highlighting hue on there. But otherwise everything seemed pretty good. I mean, simple animation. The only issue I had is that the subtitles are big and kind of long, and it takes a lot of concentration to focus on what's being said rather than watching the animation. Another thing, you could have maybe added some smoke particles on the fire here. Personally, I don't know if that's really that big of a deal, but you know, probably would have just went to enhance it a little bit. But otherwise, pretty good. As far as creepypasta stuff goes, I don't know, it seemed a little bit weak in that regard to me. Not that I'm the most versed in creepypasta, but as far as just technical quality, pretty good effort. So for our second animation here, the first thing I would note is I had a hard time understanding this. Maybe it's because of my lack of knowledge of creepypastas, but the way that it's laid out doesn't make sense to me. You have a guy, presumably he's dreaming that he's around a campfire, and then we have this random zombie or something attacking, but it's kind of weird because the door is already open, and then it looks like maybe there's supposed to be a door here, but it's glitched or placed wrong in the schematic, so it's like he's trying to beat down a door that's already open. That's a little bit weird. Otherwise, there's not much to really comment on here for animation quality. Everything's pretty basic. The movement here, I guess he's breathing hard or something. Kind of hard to tell. Like, basically, just in theme, this one was confusing to me. Animation quality and lighting seems, you know, pretty par for the course. Nice use on a rig with eyes and whatnot. But, yeah, not much to comment on here other than, you know, animation quality or not, I didn't really understand what was happening. Alright, so for our third submission here by Cool Dash, this is obviously a beginner's work. So, first of all, the first, you know, several seconds is just this still frame. I would avoid doing that. Flatlands, we have to cover it every competition. Try to never do flatlands unless there's some very specific reason you're gonna do that. A lot of the animation here, like the camera's flying around, characters are sliding around constantly. You're having fun, you know, you're animating, you're learning things, so don't take this too harshly. But like this move here, like the camera spins around like 360 apparently while this guy is supposedly walking. Now if this was an attempt to make like a really newbie animation purposefully, then you nailed it. But yeah, there's a lot of things happening, just jumping around. He becomes someone else here. The legs are moving kind of before he's really doing anything. Again, flatlands, very egregious flatlands here. I like this model, or the skin, whatever it is, and stuff, so that's cool looking. And then you have this here where the rig you're using apparently has a glitched alpha glitch thing, render depth happening. I have a video on that to learn how to fix that issue, but yeah, just, you know, keep going, keep practicing. Again, one of the things I always say when you don't really know how to do cinematography, if you're not sure how to make the camera work in Minecraft, pick simpler concepts. Just have the camera be stationary the whole time and just focus on animating the characters and things. Just make the workload a little bit simpler as you're progressing and learning. So for our fourth submission here, I have to say this one was pretty impressive. I love the laptop. I love the glow and the lighting you use to simulate the screen. Animation quality is definitely up there. I love how everything seems to, the way the characters walk, everything moves pretty organically and naturally. The only issue sometimes I find with that is the way it moves is a bit blocky. It's like a weird combination of like blocky movement with realistic movement, and maybe that's just kind of something with Minimator in the way. Okay, where was I? I had a phone call. Sorry about that. Yeah, I think what I was saying is that there's like this weird combination of blocky and realistic movement. And again, maybe it's partly due to how, you know, animation in Minimator takes place. But that always kind of like sits weird with me. But honestly, I don't really have much in the way of suggestions of like what to do about it. Either way, it still looks good, and you can tell that there's a lot of care taken in the animation. Another thing that really stuck out to me that I enjoyed is this flashlight. This is just a beautiful shot here in terms of lighting and whatnot, with the beam and the light, the spotlight I assume you used. Very cool, visually appealing style here. Headlights, everything. The only thing I could say in terms of lighting here, like this all looks very good to me. I don't really think you need to do anything with it. But having it be a little bit moodier, it's already very moody, but just in terms of like a little bit darker, and the lighting on the characters and whatnot just being a bit more specific, focused, whatever you want to use, what kind of terms you want to use there. Yeah, very, very good. I'm not really into like gore, shock horror, or whatever, but still, like for animation, this was very impressive and interesting and cool to watch. It reminds me of Dead by Daylight. But yeah, this was very cool. The main issue that stuck out to me in terms of a technical fault is the last shot here where he's walking and his arm just clips all to hell through that stair there. Besides that, very good work. For our 5th submission here, we got Redstone Generations coming in with that high quality Cinema 4D content. And this one was pretty good too. I really enjoyed the effects here. Obviously, again, this is Cinema 4D, so I can't, you know, really compare it to a Minimator animation per se. Got the similar, you know, cone effect with the flash lighting. Honestly, though, surprisingly, the one in the previous submission was a bit more like realistic looking to me. So that's interesting. In any case, this scene well done. The only thing I felt was an issue here is it just felt a little bit empty to me, just in terms of like plot and character. But I really love when you guys go the extra mile and do voice work and stuff. Obviously, there's subtitles included as well, so we went through the trouble of doing both. And yeah, it always adds something to me. It's like a little bit more of a personal character to it, a little bit more of your own. It's like introducing yourself, maybe your friends, your family, whoever you get to do voice acting for you into it. It injects the work with it. So, you know, much respect there, and I always enjoy seeing it. Very cool effect here with the hands. The only, like, one technical issue I noticed here, right there, the body shifts kind of randomly. I don't think that was intentional, but yeah, just a little thing there. Nothing too egregious, but when you're doing something that's like supernatural horror or whatever, any little movement like that can throw it off. Like you don't know if it's an issue with the animation or if it was meant to be creepy, but the characters don't react to it, so it kind of just sticks out as, you know, it makes you think too much about it. So just, I don't know, probably just a little unwanted keyframe there or something like that. But yeah, generally speaking, obviously Cinema 4D, high quality animation, high quality picture. But yeah, I really like this one. I like how you always try to tell a story with your submissions. Very good work, and I love the ending there. Kind of cliche, but I enjoyed it. So good work on that one, Redstone. And for our 6th and final submission here, first of all, I just want to say I really like how my character kind of peace outs at the beginning of all the horror stuff. Totally realistic. I want to say this is meant to be like the character is almost like in a dreamland kind of situation. The reality that he thought was around him evaporates right in front of him. Anyway, pretty good submission here. There's a few spots right there, a little bit, not too bad, maybe right there if you're looking for it, where you can kind of tell that there's flatlands beyond the scenery. Obviously rather small details, but they stick out when you have this colored lighting back there. So just a simple like spawning in a tree object and putting it back there, some leaf blocks, something to obscure that would have helped. I like the lighting overall, but you do have this kind of edge lighting thing happening, the backlighting, kind of like the one of the previous submissions, and it just looks a bit harsh. What I would use, it looks too white. Just use like a more like darker blue color or something, just so it gives some character to those other areas, but doesn't make it stand out as much. Glowing eyes, always a nice touch. I like this shot here. Like this is one of the most egregious, like obvious flatlands in the background shots, by the way. But I really like how like the camera is kind of locked onto the character, and you get that interesting cinematography there. One thing I would say, you know, you could tell that things were popping in on the corners, but you couldn't really see them while watching this in motion. So having it kind of be a little bit more in the foreground in terms of maybe, you know, the Slenderman is over here, or maybe like since the character's running, you can, like this is a first person view, I mean, you could have the camera kind of pan for a second and then he disappears again or something. Like it kind of looks over because, you know, the character is kind of noticing these things happening. That would have made a little bit more sense and been a bit more like visually engaging for the viewer. Otherwise, like here, it's so far off to the corner, you notice it, but it's not really all that impactful. It's just kind of information that something is happening. So just having like that pop in, there's a little bit of a moment, and then the character, like the camera swings over for a second and then it disappears, whatever, however you wanted to do it, would have made that a bit more of like an impactful shot there. Otherwise, you know, it's pretty cool concept here, interesting. I don't know if that was supposed to be missing its texture, but obviously in motion everything's happening so fast I didn't even notice it. So yeah, maybe that's a plus in that regard. Of course, maybe that's intentional. Again, not the most knowledgeable about creepypastas, so maybe speaking poorly here. So you had like the backlighting here, and it actually in this bit doesn't really look that bad, but again, I would try to go for a little bit more of a dull blue color or something, just so it doesn't stand out so much. I really like the kind of cartoony aspect to this one, especially with him running and falling in the eyes and everything. Looks like he's kind of fallen into some leaves there. No big deal, just a little detail that you might want to look into in the future. And of course, his untimely demise was very tragic. So that's it for the review portion, and of course we have to pick a winner, and I think for me this one's pretty obvious. This is an easy one for me to pick, and I hope you all will agree that I'm gonna have to give this one to Shikumations. Once again, the overall quality, the style of the animation, all the effort and care taken put into it, I really enjoyed this submission, and I think it went above and beyond, especially for, you know, just a couple of weeks to animate for a competition. Really good work, really enjoyed it, and yeah, Shikumations is gonna pick the next theme. Thanks for joining me, guys, and I'll see you in the next one.